Here's 5 filmmaking accessories that I didn't know I needed until I got them. The first 2 are kind of linked. First one is the SmallRig VB99 Pro V-mount batteries, or I guess just V-mount batteries in general. Having an external battery rather than just relying on the internal batteries of your camera and all your other devices like NPF batteries and stuff is just so much easier. I can power my entire rig with one battery. One of the great things about these ones, and I've talked about these before in previous videos, but they have a lot of ports on them, so you can plug all your different accessories into it and power everything all at once. And the 99 watt hour capacity is plenty for like anything that I'm doing at the moment. This will power my whole rig for basically a full day, and I've never run out of battery, so that's great. Now, I wouldn't be opposed to using bigger batteries like the VB212, the Caleb Pike one. I definitely want to try that, and I think it would work quite well on this rig, just the way that it's all balanced and everything. And that's one of the other benefits of external batteries like this. It can help you balance your rig and even just make your rig heavier, which I've talked about plenty of times before. I did a whole video about shooting handheld and stuff like that, so go check that out if you haven't already. And one of the other benefits of having a larger battery is obviously being able to leave your camera on for longer. But one of the things that I've found it's been really helpful with is I can set up this shot, for example. If everything's powered by a V-mount battery, it doesn't matter if it takes me half an hour or an hour to set up and then shoot the video, because I know I'm not going to run out of power. Whereas if I'm shooting on just the internal camera battery and maybe an NPF on my monitor or something, I'm always going to be a bit worried that something's going to die. So I kind of just don't even need to worry about leaving it on for ages, because I know these things will last forever. There's a link in the description to check out the SmallRig VB99 Pro. And also there is a link in the description to talk about our next item, which is the Condor Blue V-mount Pro. Now this is a powered V-mount plate, as you can see. Put the V-mount battery on there, clicks in, and then now everything is going through that plate rather than going through the battery. I mentioned that you can plug a bunch of stuff in here because there's so many different ports. But the thing is, when you have a powered plate like this, you don't actually need all that, because I can plug everything into this plate, which means I can just hot swap the battery and I can keep everything plugged in. I don't have to unplug anything. It's just a lot easier to leave the rig sort of as it is and plug everything into the plate versus plug everything in the camera, and then I have to like unplug everything all the time to remove the battery or charge it or anything like that. And it also leaves the ports on the battery extra in case I for some reason have enough stuff that I need those extra ports. Now, right now with this current setup, I have a USB-C cable going to the camera. I have a D-tap cable going to the monitor, and then the monitor itself, the HS8 from Portkeys, is powering the Holyland Pyro S because it has that built-in like NPF dummy battery, which is nice, so I don't need an extra DC cable. And I've also made a whole video about the V-mount Pro. One of the good things about it is the reversible D-tap ports, which means I can have my D-tap cable pointing up like that, or I could flip it around and have it pointing down like that, depending on how I'm rigging everything and how the cable needs to go for the way that the rig is built. And one of the other really good things I like about it is the switch on here. Now this is going to be on like any powered plate, I would imagine, but it has a kill switch, so it basically tells the plate whether to send power from the battery or not. Right now I've got everything off, but the monitor and the transmitter are turned on. If I had a follow focus on here as well, it would also be plugged in but not getting powered, and then I can just switch everything on here, and then you can hear the fans boot up in that, and so then everything can just turn on with one switch. The only thing that isn't is the camera itself, because I am running an internal battery in the camera and then powering it via USB-C rather than using a dummy battery. But it means that I can turn everything on here with just 2 switches rather than plugging in a bunch of stuff and powering it on, because it's just a lot easier. Bunch of ways to mount it, bunch of ways to adjust it. Really good, solid V-mount plate. Again, link in the description to Condor Blue, check it out. The next 2 are also linked, and actually I'm gonna go get it. This is the Pro Grade CF Express Type A USB 4 reader. Now it is only a single card reader. There are card readers you can get that are dual cards, so you can do both at the time. I have a Lexar one that I got ages ago that has a CF Express Type A and an SD card slot, so I could read 2 at a time, but I very rarely use SD cards anyway. so that's not really helpful. But this is USB 4, so it's going to be way faster than anything else. And why it matters that it's USB 4 versus, USB 3 or something like that, is that these new pro grade cards, this is the Iridium series, these are 960 gig CF Express Type A card, and it's CF Express 4.0, and it can read up to 1800 megabytes per second and write up to 1450 megabytes per second. So that's very, very fast. So having a reader that can keep up is really good. But honestly, that's not even why this reader is so good. The best part about it is that it's magnetic. I did not know that I needed a magnetic card reader until I got this. Thank you, ProGrade, for sending this, because would not have thought about it. But one, it comes with a pretty decently long cable, and it's also, it's a USB 4 cable, so it's going to be really fast. It can do 40 gigabits per second and 240 watts of power through this if you need to use it for something else. But it means I don't have to leave my other card reader on top of my computer that I have to sort of get up to reach. This one, I'll just magnet it to a lamp that I've got on my desk so I can reach it while I'm sitting down. And the cord is long enough that I can just leave it plugged in and it just sort of works. And one of the other good things about that, now I know this is all really minor stuff, but I think it's pretty cool. At least on Windows, when you eject a card out of this with through the software, when you hit the, safely eject media button, you can then just take out the card and it's fine. Whereas with my Lexar one, at least, you have to then take out the entire reader. You have to unplug the reader. So it means I have to get up to unplug it from the computer. Whereas, this one, I can just take the card out and it seems to not read anything from this when there's no card, which makes sense. That's what you'd want it to do. So yeah, surprisingly, I really, really like this card reader. And link to that, cards. Like I said, this is a 960 gigabyte CF Express Type A card. And one thing that I kind of knew that I wanted, but didn't really see the benefit as much, is just having big cards. Since having this, I haven't filled it up, haven't needed to format it or anything. Same with the one that I'm recording on now. It's still got 6 hours left of recording, and I'm probably going to shoot another couple videos on it before I even bother formatting it. And just having those big cards means you can sort of, one, if you do have a big project that you just don't want to format your cards between days or anything like that, you can then just sort of keep going on that card. But it also means you have a level of safety and redundancy when you are finished a project maybe, or you transfer the files on your computer, you're editing it and everything. You don't have to format the card for your next thing unless it's a big project. Most of these YouTube videos sort of thing, maybe 50 gigs, maybe 100, but 100's really pushing it if I shoot a lot for a video. So I still don't need to format between videos, whereas with the old cards that I used to use, I did. And not that this really fits into that category, but ProGrade also just came out with these 120 gig ones. So, if you can't afford to get a 960 or even the 480 or 240 gig ones, there is a 120 if that is something that you need. I also have a 80 gig Sony one that I got with my A7 IV when I bought it. So these now, finally, I have cards that can actually just go into my card case, because I've always not had enough cards to even fill up my cameras. Now I have 2 cards in both cameras, and I've got spares in here as well. So it seems like running out of data shouldn't be too much of an issue anymore. And the 5th thing on this list, I actually need to clear some space, so I wasn't supposed to knock that over. That was supposed to be a cool little transition, but anyway, this is the DeWalt Tough Systems 2.0 tool bag. And I have talked about this before in a previous video when I had my friend Antonio who went through all this stuff, and I'm gonna sort of move it out of the way because it's taking up all the room. But before I saw Justin Porter, actually, he put everybody onto this bag in particular. Before I saw that, I didn't realize that I needed a bag that I could just put an entire rig in and not have to de-rig it and everything. Because I had noticed a few times that it's just you get to a shoot and then you have to build your camera, which, sometimes that's fine. Other times you just want to sort of get there and grab the camera and go. And building this does take a little bit, so it's good to just be able to fit an entire rig in a bag and then I basically don't need to de-rig this like ever unless I'm like changing major things about it, like if I'm using the audio handle or something like that. But this bag has so much space for other things on the ends and on the sides, and just enough space for a fully built out rig. The one downside is, at least using big monitors like this, doesn't really fit in, so I can't like close it unless I like flip the monitor up, which can work. But yeah, that's the DeWalt Tough Systems 2.0 tool bag. I'm not quite sure exactly what they are calling it, because it's like part of the Tough System 2.0 that has like hard cases as well that it's meant to go on top of, and is a tool bag. It's not a camera bag or anything, so I did have to add some foam in the bottom to protect the bottom of the camera, because it's just hard plastic on the bottom. But other than that, it works really, really well, and you can get it from, I got it from Bunnings if you're in Australia. If you're in America or something, Home Depot, any like hardware store like that should probably have them. Shout out Justin Porter for like getting everybody onto these bags. I don't know how DeWalt hasn't sponsored him or anything yet. But that'll be it for this one. Those are 5 filmmaking accessories that I didn't realize I needed until I got them. Links to all of them will be in the description, or most of them. Go check them out. Go check out one of the videos that I talked about before, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.